All right, now we will pick up with part 2 of our taxonomy lesson. Now, if you haven't checked out the taxonomy part 1 video, please do so now. So somewhere on your screen, you should have an annotation. You want to click on that. Okay. Otherwise, let's jump right in with binomial nomenclature. Okay. All right, binomial nomenclature, it's a big word. It's two big words. You guys got this. Okay. Binomial nomenclature just means a two-part naming system. Okay. So as Linnaeus developed the 7 taxa, he also created the system of naming organisms. Okay. Because a long, long time ago, there was no rules on how to name stuff. And boy, did it get confusing, and did names get confusing. Okay. So with what Linnaeus did is he took a confusing system, worked with it, added rules, and things became more organized. So scientists around the world, doesn't matter what language you speak, you can understand what a scientist is talking about in regards to an organism. Okay. When we look at scientific names, so aka the binomial nomenclature, okay, so for us average folk, we tend to refer to them as scientific names instead of using binomial nomenclature. They are indeed in a different language. Okay, so when we look at the scientific name for humans, Homo sapiens, that is a different language, and that language is Latin. Okay, so during this time, 1800s, a lot of people, their given or their second language was Latin. So it was really easy for Linnaeus to say, hey, we're going to use Latin for the system because everybody knew Latin. Okay. So when you look at scientific names and you're like, whoa, that's a different language. Yes, it is different language. Okay. Scientific names, just by looking at them, don't be scared. It's really easy to understand. Okay. Think of it as having a first name and a last name. Okay. So the first name, or the first part of a scientific name, is the genus. So whatever genus that said organism belongs to, that is its first name. Okay. The second name is the species. So said organism, whatever species it is, that is its last name. And guess what? There you have the scientific name. Okay. So essentially what Linnaeus did, he took the lower 2 taxa, genus and species, to form the first name, the second name. Okay. All right, so we're almost done with scientific names. But before we finish, we got to talk about some rules, because there are some rules for writing or typing scientific names. Okay. All right, rule number 1, always capitalize the first letter of the first name, aka the genus part. Okay. The rest of the letters will be lowercase. So I know it's going to be a little bit tough to get at first because it seems confusing. I capitalized the first letter of my first name, and I capitalized the first letter of my last name. But scientific names are a little bit different in that you only capitalize the first letter, everything else is lowercase. Okay. All right, if you are handwriting a scientific name, if you're writing it on paper, what you must do is underline it. Okay. You underline both parts, the first name, okay, the genus, the second name, the species. So you underline the entire thing. But teacher lady, what if we're typing a scientific name? We can't really underline on our screen. Okay. So if you are typing a scientific name, what you're going to do is, after you capitalize the first letter, make sure everything else is lowercase, you are going to click the italicize button, so the I at the top. So you're going to italicize instead of underline. Okay. So handwrite, you underline all parts. If you type a scientific name, you italicize all parts. Okay. So let's review these rules again. Always capitalize the first letter. The rest is lowercase. if you are handwriting a scientific name, you're going to underline both parts. Okay, can't stress that enough. You underline both the genus and the species part. Okay, if you are typing, instead of underlining, you will italicize the entire name, both the genus and the species part. Right? Okay, and guys, there we have it with binomial nomenclature, aka scientific names.